Hello, welcome to day 78. Now, you may remember a couple of days ago I mentioned that I've been experimenting putting new strings to create octaves on this little lute. I'll say something about that after this short piece, for non-lutenists who are unfamiliar with this concept. And I've dug out a piece, I haven't really had much time to practice it, but which very much comes from this era, this early 16th century, which requires these octaves, and to a little extent illustrates it. So if you hear a sort of slightly colourful, zingy quality to the sound, it's these funny strings I put on, and as I say, I'll explain those afterwards. Anyway, a little Praeludium. Very interesting colour, that piece. Anyway, about these strings, for especially for non-lutenists who are interested, a lot of the music I play, like Spinacino and Dalsa and this piece, comes from the early 1500s. And at that time, generally people were writing for and playing a 6-course lute, by which I mean, well, first of all, let me explain that lute strings come in pairs, and each pair is called a course. The top one, a chanterelle, I think it's called, is usually a single one, but the rest come in pairs. So a 6-course lute has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this is actually a 7-course, but ignore that bottom one. Let's pretend it's a 6-course lute, which is pretty much, as I say, the standard early 1500s lute. Well, a very wise man who makes fabulous lutes, and I'm fortunate that he also repairs my lutes, suggested to me the other day, said, Rupert, I've noticed in your videos you're playing a lot of this early 16th century repertoire. Why didn't you experiment putting on some more octaves to create a more authentic sound? And the octave is down at the bottom end of the range, I think because of string technology in that period, the early 1500s. The deeper the string in pitch, the more sort of muffled and less distinct and carrying the sound. So what they decided was, instead of just having the actual bass string, the second string of the course, instead of being tuned to that pitch, will be tuned an octave higher. So when you play the course together, which you always do, you always play both strings, you hear the octave. So I already had it on my 6th course, but Tony, my guru, has suggested I put it on the 5th and the 4th. And if I go above that to the 3rd, you'll hear it's unison. No octave there. Back to the 4th, 5th, 6th. So that creates a bad example, I should have prepared one. Anyway, you can see how it suddenly injects the note that you wanted, albeit an octave higher, is then projected more clearly within the texture, and it doesn't sound, if it's played properly, which I'm not yet doing, it doesn't sound as though suddenly there's a treble note popping in. it within a contrapuntal texture, it actually works. But it does add a kind of zingy and bright, I'm sure that's the wrong word, but it adds some colour, which definitely on this loop wasn't there when I just had unisons down on those courses. So that's what this is all about, and I hope that's vaguely of interest to non-lutenists. I promise there won't be any more lectures after this. So everybody, thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Hope you stay well. Bye.